So a few years back, Cooler Master expanded their case series by introducing the Master Case series, which started defining the word modularity. And now they have introduced the MasterBox 5 series with the tagline, "You decide the inside." There are different versions of this MasterBox 5 case, like the MasterBox 5T, black with front panel mesh, white with dark mirror front panel, and black with front panel mesh and no transparent side panel. So the one we have here is with front panel mesh but no transparent side panel. It is priced around $65 and 7,300 INR. It's much cheaper than the cases from the Master Case series, but you still get some modularity with it. So let's get on with the physical overview. The case is made from a combination of steel and plastic. The build quality and finish is quite good. The case feels rigid, but it's quite heavy. Aesthetically, the case looks clean and simple without a lot of frills. On the front, there is a huge grille which is removable, and on the front there is a 120mm pre-installed intake fan. You can also add two 140mm or 120mm fans on the front. But if you want to add a third 120mm fan, then you will have to remove the dual 5¼ drive bay to install a bracket. To remove the drive bay, it's quite simple. Just remove a screw on the front and two screws on the back and you are good to go. For the I/O, we have a HDD LED indicator, two USB 3.0 ports, a power button with LED indicator, headphone jack, microphone jack, and a tiny reset button. The front panel is removable but doesn't open up completely due to the I/O wires tied to the chassis of the case. Side panel in this version doesn't have a transparent window, but they are both removable with thumb screws. These thumb screws do not stay with the side panel, but it would have been better if they stayed so you don't misplace them. Moving to the rear, there are 7 PCI slots with one safeguard at the bottom that will let you pass one of the peripheral cables through there. There is a pre-installed 120mm exhaust fan in the back, and this case is elevated with awesome case feet which are rubberized, which allows the power supply to breathe and gives easy access to the removable dust filter. Moving to the top, there is a huge fan grille which has a single 120mm or a 140mm fan mounts. There is a dust filter which is not easily accessible until you remove the screws. You will not be able to install a 120mm or a 140mm AIO radiator as there will be clearance issues on the top. Moving to the interior, I personally love the layout and there is ample room for all the components. This case can support a mini ATX, micro ATX and normal ATX motherboards. If you notice, there is an index just below the motherboard cutout which has all the names of the components inside the case with a letter representing them. So these letters are marked all over the interior of the case. This will be a huge help for those first-time PC builders. This is a small feature, but it's unique and it increases the functionality with this case. On the bottom, you can install a ATX power supply unit. There is also a dedicated power supply shroud which is sold separately. To the right of the motherboard tray, there are 6 holes for cable management. For storage, there is a SSD bay and a hard drive cage with 2 hard drive bays included. Now this is where the "you decide the inside" comes in. The hard drive cage is removable by the thumb screw which stays with the cage so that you don't misplace it. And even the 2 hard drive bays are removable. On the bottom of the case, you can see these 3 small mounting holes where the hard drive cage can be installed at 3 positions. So for example, you are not using an AIO radiator in the front, you can install it near to the front of the case. But if you are planning to add an AIO radiator in the front, you can install the hard drive cage further back so that you don't have clearance issues. The SSD bay can also be taken out by the thumb screws which stays with it, and it can be installed on these 2 positions. But if you remove the optical drive bay, you will have a third position for installing your SSD bay. You can even mount the SSD bay on top of your hard drive cage. But in case you don't want to mount your SSD bay in front of your case, you can mount at these 3 positions on the back side of the chassis. If you want to add more storage drives into your system, you can buy additional hard drive cages and SSD mounts. This idea of mounting the storage cages as per your desires is very innovative, and it truly defines the modularity of this budget case. For AIO radiators, this case has got you covered. You can add a 120mm, 140mm, 240mm or a 280mm radiator on the front. But if you want to install a 360mm radiator, you will have to remove the optical drive cage and install the bracket as mentioned before. To the rear, you can install a 120mm radiator only. Moving to the back side, you can see there is sufficient room for cable management. There is 25 to 35mm of space available, so you wouldn't have problems with managing with thick power supply cables. The only thing I would like to say is that I would love to see rubber grommets included in these type of cases, but it doesn't matter if your cables are sleeved. Also, there are several cable management points below the motherboard cutout to tie the cables with cable ties included with the case. The motherboard cutout is big, so if you are installing a beefy air cooler or an AIO cooler, it will be much easier to install the brackets to the back side of the motherboard. In conclusion, this is a very solid case for beginners. It's well built and it's rigid. Although it might be as modular as the cases from the Master Case series, but for its price, all you can do is to change the interior layout as per your needs. I would love to see more modularity in these budget cases in the future. But at the end of the day, this is an awesome case and it will surely serve you well in the long run. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you Cooler Master India for providing us with this case. Please like, subscribe and share, and I'll catch you on in the next one.